Hello, welcome to Michelle Reads Books. This book we are reading today is Fantastic Beasts: The Secrets of Dumbledore. This isn't technically a book, it is a screenplay, and so it tells the story of the movie. So if you want to watch the movie, I completely understand, but I actually read the screenplay. So that's what we're talking about today. I'll start with a quick summary, and then I'll talk about my opinion. Albus Dumbledore and Gellert Grindelwald briefly meet in a Muggle tea shop where they acknowledge their mutual feelings. Grindelwald vows to destroy the Muggle world, but Dumbledore calls the plan madness, saying he only supported it because he was in love with him. In China, Newt Scamander helps a Quillin, a magical creature that can see into one's soul as well as the future, give birth. Not long after, Credence apparates in and leads Rosier and Caro to attack and kill the mother and kidnap the newborn. Unbeknownst to them, the Quillin gave birth to another baby. Newt rescues the young Quillin before collapsing of exhaustion. A wyvern from his traveling suitcase flies them all away. Grindelwald's acolytes arrive in Nuremberg to give him the newborn Quillin. Intending to harness its ability of precognition, he kills it by slitting its throat, reanimating the corpse by magic. Queenie surreptitiously observes this with shock. Newt and his brother Theseus venture to see Albus in Hogsmeade, where they also meet his brother Aberforth. Albus tells them that he cannot battle Grindelwald directly due to the blood troth that he and Grindelwald created. Credence, struggling with the revelation that he is a Dumbledore, is visited by Queenie, who relays Grindelwald's suggestion that Credence seek out and kill Albus for abandoning him. Meanwhile, Jacob Kowalski is continuing on as a baker when he encounters Charms teacher Lally Hicks, who recruits him. Using a book as a portkey, they port into a Berlin-bound train to join Newt, Newt's brother Theseus, Senegalese French wizard Yusuf Kama, and Newt's assistant Bunty. Tina Goldstein is very busy heading up MAC-USA and cannot join them. Newt relays Dumbledore's plan to defeat Grindelwald to them. He gives a fake wand to Jacob, a red and gold tie to Theseus, a book to Lally, and to Bunty a note for her eyes only. In Berlin, despite Newt's attempts to persuade him otherwise, the outgoing supreme head of the International Confederation of Wizards, ICW, Anton Vogel, acquits Grindelwald of all previous criminal charges. This allows him to run in the elections for the head of the ICW in a three-way competition against Santos and Tau. Grindelwald and his acolytes, who have already infiltrated the German Ministry of Magic, overpower and arrest Theseus. Dumbledore apparates into Berlin and brings Newt to the Erkstag, the secret German wizarding prison where Theseus is held. Bunty goes off to have Newt's suitcase copied with 6 identical ones. Yusuf is planted as a spy in Grindelwald's inner circle. Grindelwald has Queenie use her legilimency to test Yusuf's trustworthiness and believes her validation. Credence tracks down Albus and battles him in the streets of Berlin, but is quickly disarmed. Albus confirms to Credence that he is a Dumbledore, the son of his brother Aberforth, but gently assures him that they did not intentionally abandon him. Credence begins to question his loyalty to Grindelwald. Meanwhile, Grindelwald plots to assassinate the competing Brazilian candidate Santos by slipping her a poisoned cup of wine, but she is saved by Lally at the last second. Jacob threatens Grindelwald with his wand to let Queenie go and is mistaken for an assassin. Lally casts a storm charm as a distraction and is able to activate the book port key in time for her and Jacob to escape from the pursuing Helmut and a German Auror. Newt finds Theseus in the Erkstag, but they are surrounded by a swarm of baby scorpion-like manticores. Newt and Theseus are able to placate them by rhythmically dancing until a giant manticore attacks them and grabs Theseus. With the help of Newt's Bowtruckle Pickett and Niffler Teddy, Newt saves him with the red and gold tie, another portkey that transports them to Hogwarts. Newt and Theseus meet with Albus, Lally, and Jacob at Hogwarts, where Albus shows them the next location, Bhutan. Later, they eat in Hogsmeade, where Lally explains to Jacob that the Quillin bows only to someone who is pure of heart and was thus traditionally trusted to select the head of the ICW. Using necromancy, Grindelwald reanimates the dead Quillin and charms it to bow to him to influence the election in his favor. Knowing that there was another Quillin, he gives Credence a last chance to redeem himself for failing to kill Dumbledore by destroying it. To thwart Grindelwald's henchmen, each ally of Dumbledore carries an identical suitcase, with only one containing the Quillin. The team travels one by one via Portkey to the ICW vote in Bhutan. On arrival, they are confronted by Grindelwald's followers. Theseus, Lally, and Jacob are surrounded and have their suitcases taken, but when Helmut and his men open them, they release Quidditch balls, angry books with fangs, and rapidly multiplying pastries. Jacob convinces Queenie to come back with him from Grindelwald, but they are caught. Newt meets with Henrietta Fisher, Vogel's attaché, and she tells him that she is with Dumbledore and tries to take his case. Newt is suspicious and resists, but is stunned by Zabini, another Grindelwald follower. When Newt wakes up, he tries to catch Fisher, who gives him back the suitcase, but it vanishes. At the election, the dead Quillin that Grindelwald charmed bows to him, and he is elected as the new head of the ICW, after which he immediately declares war on all muggles and tortures Jacob with the Cruciatus curse. Credence arrives and reveals that Grindelwald's Quillin is dead. Bunty, who has the real suitcase, produces the surviving Quillin. The living Quillin passes Grindelwald by and bows to Albus Dumbledore. Shocked, Albus thanks the Quillin for the honor, but convinces it that there is another equally worthy. The Quillin then bows to Santos, who had freed Jacob from Grindelwald's Cruciatus curse, and she is elected as the legitimate head of the ICW. Enraged, Grindelwald tries to kill Credence, who is simultaneously protected by Aberforth and Albus. As an act of defense of Credence, Dumbledore's and Grindelwald's clashing spells break the blood pact, and they fight each other, but are evenly matched and cannot bring themselves to attack each other at close range. Grindelwald is cornered by all in attendance. He defiantly declares that he was never their enemy and disapparates. In the aftermath, Aberforth accepts the dying Credence as his son and takes him home. Back in New York City at Jacob's Bakery, Jacob and Queenie have a small wedding ceremony with a few guests. While preparing his speech, Newt steps outside as Tina arrives and spots Albus Dumbledore watching from across the street. Dumbledore thanks Newt before disappearing into the night. So, what did I think of this? As far as like Harry Potter stories go, I was disappointed. And now let me explain that. It was because there's a lot of action, there's a lot of movement, there's a lot of this happened, then that happened, then that happened, then that happened. There's not that much explanation as to why. And I also feel like it was left open-ended. And while, yeah, Grindelwald was stopped, he wasn't captured. And I don't really understand that. So how did he get captured at the end? And I know that they left it open because they want to like make another movie or something like that. They want to at least leave it open to the possibility. But I just don't like that because it's not finished. It doesn't feel finished. And I just feel like the ending was very unclear as to what was going on. That Credence was actually Aberforth's son was kind of cool, and they call him Aurelius because they all have A names, you know, it's a Dumbledore thing. And I really like that. But I liked the addition of the Quillin as being like a magical creature that can like see into your soul and stuff. That's really cool. But then using it in order to like charm it after it's dead, like that's creepy and kind of gross. And I know that Grindelwald does creepy, gross things, but like that was a bit over the top, yeah? I don't know. And also like the complication of having Theseus get arrested and having to spring him out of prison. I don't know. It's a lot. And I just felt like as far as Harry Potter stories go, this one was a bit out there. It was a bit out there. So I would say if you are a Harry Potter fan, you may enjoy it. But I didn't really think much of it. I think it was just too much. And that is just my opinion. Anyway, leave your opinion down in the comments below. Also, it's a very quick read. It's just over 2 hours. I'd say 2 hours and like maybe 20 minutes. And yeah, it's just not necessary. And I mean, you just heard me explain all that happened. It's a lot in 2 hours. Like, that's a lot. So yeah, it's just a little bit too much. And I just felt like it if they had had more explanations on what was going on and less action, it turned it into an action movie. And sure, if that's what you want, but it's not really what I think most Harry Potter fans do want. Anyway, that's just my opinion. But leave your opinions down in the comments below, and happy reading.